So good morning, students. This is Rakesh Kumar Sen, and I'm working as an assistant professor as into the course of MBA Business Analytics at Avantika University. And today we are going to look at the topic known as turnover analytics, which is basically implementing the analytics techniques into the HR domain. So without any further delay, I think we should start with the agenda. So our today's agenda would be what is turnover analytics first of all, and next would be the steps involving the analytics and tools used for the analytics part. And apart from this, more interestingly, we will be looking at one of the case study, which is a project-based case study, basically application of analytics in the HR domain. Okay. So without any further delay, I think we should look at the first term, which is known as turnover analytics. What do you mean with turnover analytics? Now, whenever you come across this particular term of turnover analytics, it is a process of using data and statistical techniques to understand and predict the employee retention rate in your organization, right? And it involves analyzing the various factors and considerations to contribute to the employee attrition rates, and the identifying the strategies which will going to improve the retention rate and reduce the employees turnover as well. Okay, so when we talk about HR analytics whole as a domain, so it is basically a combination of two individual domains. Number one is human resources and next is analytics. Okay, so combining or the integrating them both, we conclude it as an HR analytics, a domain in itself. Okay. So what will be the steps involved in the analysis? First of all, starting with the identification of the problem or the problem identification, what we called as, okay, and the collection and the preparation of the data, which is also known as the feature engineering or the feature extraction. And the next part we'll be looking at is the data exploration, or basically exploratory data analysis. In the short term, it is abbreviated as the EDA, and the visualization part, where we will be plotting various graphs and charts to understand the data in a more appropriate way rather. And next comes us to as is communication and the recommendations. So whatever inferences what we have inferred throughout our analysis part, we will be basically judging on the basis of various factors, various analysis part, and how we will be conveying to the stakeholders or those who are the non-technical stakeholders. It should be understandable to them as well. Okay. So here are few of the tools and libraries we'll be using for the analysis part. And number one comes as the Matplotlib and Seaborn. These are the Matplotlib and Seaborn are one of the most important libraries or the Python libraries when we talk about. And programming languages, number one is Python we will be using primarily, and NumPy and Pandas, both for the manipulation part, data manipulation part we'll be looking. And apart from this, for the visualization part, we'll be looking at the Matplotlib and Seaborn. So Matplotlib is nothing but the visualization library which used for the 2D graphs and charts plotting, and Seaborn is vice versa used for the 3D plotting, or to plot the more interactive charts and to get the more inferences out of the data. NumPy and Pandas which used for the NumPy, the name itself defines you the numerical and the Python integration. So basically all the numerical operations and mathematical operations has been take place by the NumPy, by using NumPy. And Pandas, whereas we use for the reading of data, extraction of data, and manipulating of the data at the very same time. So moving forward, we'll be looking at one of the important case here. So number one, the organization is facing the high voluntary attrition rate due to political changes in the management style or the company structure. Now, we have to understand as an analyst that employees, what is the reason behind the employees exist from that particular organization. And employees with either too few or too many projects are tend to leave more, and while those with a balanced workout tend to stay more. Okay. Now, interestingly, For those who leave, are tend to have the highest satisfaction levels rather than who stays. So factors such as promotion opportunities, years of experiences, and the salary range have been found to have the significant impact on the employees' turnover rates as well. Now, turnover, what we have understood back then is about the attrition. Okay, so attrition is nothing but the number of employees who are leaving in the middle of their tenure, or maybe because of the less satisfactory issues. Okay, and the challenges is it's tend to identify the key drivers of the voluntary iterations and develop the strategies to retain more and more top talent in their organization for the long-term growth. Okay, so to understand that particular scenario, we'll be extracting the data from the Kaggle. Number one, Kaggle is nothing but the repository, a huge data repository present online, and which is available and accessible to each and everyone. Okay, and what all are the key drivers behind that particular attrition rate in this case? So this is to be understood by us as well. Now, and what all are the important factors which are exactly implementing or affecting that particular scenario? So number one, we will be looking at the glimpse of data set. Now, how does the data looks like? So basically, we'll be using the pandas library over here. So HR is equals to panda. Over here I have mentioned, see, look at my cursor, pd.read_csv, where we are reading this particular data set, hr_comma.separation file, that is in the form of CSV, or the comma separated values file format. So it is more of a similar to Excel format, but here we'll be looking at the HR comma separated is into the CSV file. Now here we have many of the features or the columns present in front of us, which are satisfaction level, last evaluation of the employee, number of projects assigned to him or her, and average monthly hours he's been working with this particular company, time spent in the company in years, and work accident, is he or she left, promotion in last 5 years, and the categories, like in which department he or she has been working, and salary ranges. Now, to starting with this particular process, number one is the HR columns. HR.columns, the HR is nothing but are the data frame. Now, whenever we use pandas as a library, we have data frame on kind of data type in front of us. So we will be using this particular data frame by defining the HR. Okay, so HR is my data frame over here, and HR is equals to pd_read_csv, and here I have imported the file. So these all the process have been took place on this particular software or the platform known as Google Colab. So it is to be understood that you are pretty much aware of this particular platform. Okay, so HR.columns, I have just mentioned this name of my data frame and dot columns. So here I have got the list of columns present in my particular data set. Yeah, moving forward, we have came over here by plotting this particular chart of area chart, which is against the frequency of the employee and the average monthly hours. Okay, so we are more eager and we are more tend towards to know the frequency of the employee, how frequent he or she is. Okay, so what all are the inferences when we see this particular area chart? So okay, so from the plot, it is to be understood that there is an increasing trend of the turnover for the employees who work for the 150 hours on a monthly average. Okay, and this trend is replicated for the 250 hours average monthly working hours as well. Okay, so when we observe over here, the employees who are working for the 150 hours on monthly basis are replicated to the 250 hours as well. So those are the employees who are leaving the company basically. The same trend is observed for those who do not leave the company as well. Okay, so for those, the the frequency differences is higher, and for those who are working 150 monthly hours, or who work for the 250 average monthly hours as well, so they are leaving at the same time and they are staying back in the company. So it is being a tricky case for us over and on. So in the next glimpse as well, we'll be looking at those who have left and those who have stayed, and according to them we will be judging them on the basis of the satisfaction level. Like what was the satisfaction level of the employee when he or she left the company, or those who have stayed back in the company. Okay, so inferences, it is strange that who have left the company have the highest satisfaction level compared to the significantly those who stays. So here we have compared density of the area chart accordingly to the satisfaction level of the employee and those who have left. Okay, and density of the density against the satisfaction level of the employee, those who have stayed back. Yeah, so it's been staged quite a few times. You might come across this kind of data as well. So in this case, you have to understand the audacity of that particular data set, and you have to respect that. And is it important for you for the further analysis? It is to be understood from you as well. So next point we come across is number of projects, or basically we can say it as the workload. Is it playing a major role or a crucial role in the staying back or the turnover of the employee? So let's find out. Yeah, so here we have plotted a bar chart basically, which is number of projects against the count. So number of projects were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, the higher the project number, the more of the turnover. And here I have used the legend named as turnover, which is blue color, indicating that he or she has of the employee have stayed back in the company, and one who has are those who have left the company. So quickly we'll be looking at the inferences now. So we'll be looking at the inferences by saying that it is seen that there are employees with number of projects 3 and 4 are tend to stay more within the company, but there are people with projects 2 and 7 have left the company. So with this data we come to know that people with the less or the most project have left the company, rather those who have got the the balanced project have tend to stay more back in the company as well. So this is basically indicating the huge difference between the turnover and no turnover of the employees for the number of projects as 3, 4 and 5. So these are nothing but the outliers, you can say. If you are having the less number of projects, you will feel unsatisfied, and if you have the more number of projects, again you will be the uppermost outlier in that case. Yeah, over here we have plotted a box plot for the satisfaction level of the number of projects. Now box plots are nothing but it is an plot used for the outlier detection. Now what do you mean by outlier? So for this particular topic, I would take one real case example. Suppose you are in a class of 20 and there has a test took place, and the total score was 100. Okay, the highest minimum marks you can score is 100, and few of your friends have got 2 marks, 3 marks. Okay, and few of your friends might have scored 95, 97, and they have scored tremendously. So they are basically nothing but the outliers, and the maximum of their crowd might have in the range of 60s, 70s or 40s. All those are known as the population. Okay, so from this box plot, it is understood that if the people with number of projects 2 and 3 have shown the higher level of the satisfaction, and that stayed within the organization as well. Okay, I repeat. From the box plot, it is understood that number of projects 2 and 3 over here. Just look at my cursor. Yeah. 2 and 3 have shown high level of satisfaction, and they stayed within the organization as well. And there is a huge and significant difference between the satisfaction level, those who have leave the company and stay the company with number of projects 6 over here. Here we can observe that there is a satisfaction level that is playing a crucial role in the turnover of the employee. The next point we have been covering is the turnover with the number of projects and their evaluation as well. Okay, so there's a quarter cycle, or there might be a semi-quarter cycle which might have took place in this particular organization, and there has been an evaluation round, and from this they have observed, or they might have collected the data from the employees, and inferences that we have observed after this particular analysis is basically from this box plot we can identify that there is a significant difference in the evaluation scores of the between the turnover rates as stated earlier, right? So there's a high evaluation score for the people who are handling the more projects, the projects which are basically greater than number 3, but despite that they tend to leave back in the company. They leave the company, and this trend is reversed for the number of projects where the number of projects is equals to 1. Where we find that people having the evaluation score of 0.65 are tend to stay within the company. So here are the factors that might be focusing on more of the productivity of the employees, like how productive he or she has been throughout the years, and at what capacity they might have served the particular organization, and many of their HR terms which comes across this particular scenario, and that is to be considered in a while as well. Yeah. So moving forward, we'll be looking at the cross tabulation format or the cross tabulation technique. So time spent within the company, we have to understand with the help of lambda function, we will be sorting all these values, and as you know that HR are the data frame in the pandas library that we have been using. Okay, so time spent in the company is one of the column or the one of the feature you can say which is into our database, okay, or the data set rather. And for that particular condition, we will be looking at the cross tabulation technique, like if the number of years of experience for that particular employee is how much, that is and more the chances of the employee of leaving that particular company. So from this particular table, it is seen that 44% of the employees have left the company who had the 3 years of work experience, whereas almost the closer percentage of 42% which have been staying back in the company. So there's a balancing out kind of equation over here what we can observe, where the number of years of experience is 3. Yeah. So moving forward, here we have one more histogram rather, or the joint bar graph you can say, which has been plotted against the count and the promotion happened in past 5 years, or since 5 years what have been the promotion trend which has been followed in this particular organization. So from this particular plot, it is seen that people who have not given the who have been not rewarded with the promotion have left in the large numbers, whereas difference is significant where those who have stayed back in the company. And whereas in contradictory part, there have been very few people who might have got the promotion in last 5 years. So that's a serious concern, or one of the major constraints that might be the playing the crucial role with behind that particular attrition rate or high attrition rate or the high turnover. Okay. Next is satisfaction level along with the salaries. So it is one of the more important or the most important factor that is to be considered while understanding that particular scenario of turnover or the attrition rate or the higher attrition rate in this organization. Okay, so those who do not leave the company have shown the higher level of satisfaction level irrespective of their salary ranges. So there might have been the people, who might have not got promoted as well, and they are quite satisfied with their own job, and they might be loving their particular KRAs or the all or the responsibility areas. Okay, so difference is significant for those who have leave or those who have left the company versus those who have stayed within the company. So there's a significant difference, rather we can say. And here I have basically categorized or classified the ranges of the salary according to the by implementing few permutation, combination and the calculation part into the low, medium salary and the higher salary. So all these part of the three various classification or the classes have been classified to understand in a more easier way to understand the overall scenario against the satisfaction level with the salaries. Next is, now we will be understanding the who all are the employees or departmental wise those who have been getting the low salary. So as we know that the salary has been a crucial or the playing the tremendous part in the attrition or the turnover rates. So lower salary, here we can observe from this particular graph that lower salary with the departmental count accordingly. Okay, so from this plot it is understood that the sales department has the maximum number of the people who have received the lowest salary, which has been followed by the technical support and IT. So HR and management has very few people those who have receiving the higher or the lower salary ranges. So HR and management are those who might have been getting the decent salary packages. So they are the product marketing, R&D and the accounting, HR, IT support. Those all are the verticals or the departments that we can understand, and we can just circle back on this particular topic. So from the lower foundation of the salary, next comes to us is the medium salary. Okay, so medium range of salary, the only difference is not much appreciable, rather between the departmentals with people receiving the lower salary or the medium salary. So there's a change only with the last three departments of the HR, accounting and management. In the previous slide, what we have observed that accounting and HR, they might have been swapped their places in these while we talk about the salary terms. Okay, so sales is still leading. So in the next slide, we will be looking at those who have left the departmental wise. Okay, so sales, technical persons have seen more people leaving the company or the more attrition rate, the higher the attrition rate, whereas the people in research and development, management have less turnover count. So what we can infer from this particular graph, it is clear that the people from sales, technical, and the support are the people whom tend to leave the company more. So there are any type of the attrition activity which is been performed, or any of the steps or the most crucial step in the favor of employees that can be taken to consideration for avoiding and minimizing the attrition rate in this particular verticals or the departments, it is to be understood, right? And whereas research and development, management and the product marketing team, they tend to leave more into the company. So all those were the inferences from this particular graph. And for those who have stayed, so surprisingly the first four departments have the higher retention rates as well as the turnover rates as well. So sales, technical, support and IT, all three or four departments have the higher turnover rates, and the people are coming in as well and the coming out as well. So, but comparing all those values, those who have leave and those who have stayed back in these departments, it can be concluded basically that how the count of those who stays almost thrice, or the count of those who have stayed more. Okay. Yeah. So what will be our recommendation? Our personal recommendations would be, retain the employees, those who have the higher satisfaction levels. So as we know, the department of HR in the organization, they might be conducting the various feedback surveys or maybe the activity surveys and their reviews, onboarding surveys throughout the process, right? So it is observed that employees with the higher satisfaction level are staying back into the company, and they are more tend to stay within the company. So therefore, it is recommended for the organization to focus on the improving the more work culture and healthy work culture rather, and providing the better benefits to the employees, ensuring the job satisfaction for the employees, and providing balanced project assignment. The secondarily will be considering this, the providing the balanced project assignments is something which can minimize the the retention rate or the attrition, and which can minimize the turnover ratios for these particular organization. So employees, those who have assigned with the balanced number of projects, they tend to stay within the company. Therefore, it is recommended to assign the project to the employees for those based in their skill sets and capacity, and offer promotions comes to the number 3. So it is observed that employees, those who have not been promoted in a while, are tend to leave the company, and therefore it is recommended for the organization to provide career growth, personal growth opportunities for the employees, and offer promotions based on their performance appraisals. Okay, and focus on the departments with the higher turnover rates. So as we have observed, this departments like sales, technical support and IT have the high number of attrition rate or the high number of turnover rates. It is recommended to the organization that they need to identify the reasons behind that particular turnover, and these departments can take the appropriate measures or appropriate steps to improve the employee retention rate. Now, I will be focusing on 2 major companies, or the examples, use cases rather, we can understand. They are already been adopted this particular technique of attrition or the turnover analytics way back. Okay, and they are working on this particular measures immensely. Number 1 is Procter & Gamble, that is P&G. It's a very well-known FMCG brand that is being tracking the employee performance and their potentials to identify the employees, those who are at the risk of leaving that particular company, and to develop the targeted retention strategies. By using these particular techniques and the technologies, they have been successful so far. And next comes to us is the Shell. So Shell is the one of the most popular worldwide petroleum company, and they identify the skill gaps between their employees, and they try to fulfill it by providing them career growth opportunities, and to develop the targeted training programs to assess the workforce diversity and their inclusion in that teams across all the departments and all the verticals. So both of these companies have been adopted already this concept of turnover analytics so far, and they have been successful as well. Okay, so these were the topics from my end that is to be covered in the part of turnover analytics has been concerned. So thanks a lot for the listening to and bearing to me.